We'll begin with our prayers. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshitarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Welcome everyone to our Srimad Bhagavatam review class. So last time we completed the 9th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, and before going to the 10th canto we'll discuss the 11th and 12th cantos, and then we'll start the discussion on the Ashraya topic, that is the topic of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the whole life and the whole pastimes of Krishna. So 11th canto, Chakravarti Thakur and all the acharyas, they describe that 10th canto, in the beginning of the 11th canto, it is described by Srila Prabhupada also. The 10th canto ends with the promise of the success for the sincere hearer. So this is just to increase the inquisitiveness and eagerness to hear the 10th canto. So 10th canto describes at the end what is the promise. Whoever hears the 10th canto, what will he achieve? So it is described by Shukdev Goswami at the end of the 10th canto that by regularly hearing, chanting and remembering the beautiful topics of Lord Mukunda with ever increasing sincerity. So whoever hears, remembers and chants with ever increasing sincerity, any mortal being will attain liberation from the material bondage, and he will attain the divine kingdom of God, from which nobody returns, and there death holds no sway. There is no control of death in the spiritual world. That is how the 10th canto ends. This 11th canto, as we know, there are 10 topics of Srimad Bhagavatam. Atra sarga visargascha sthanam poshanam utayah manvantara ishanu katha nirodha mukti and ashraya. So we have discussed that first canto is just a prelude of the whole Bhagavatam. Second and third cantos discuss the sarga. Fourth canto describes the topic of visarga or secondary creation. Fifth canto describes the sthanam, the place where the living entities they enjoy. That is a description of whole Vedic cosmology. Sixth canto describes the topic of poshana, how Lord protects his devotees. And there the pastime of Ajamil, pastime of Vritrasur, Indra, they are described. And then when a living entity comes in this world, there are some auspicious and inauspicious inclinations are there. So the auspicious inclination is described by the character of Prahlad Maharaj in the 7th canto, and the inauspicious inclinations are described by the character of Hiranyakashipu. That is the Uti. 7th canto is Uti. And then we discussed in the 8th canto, there are 14 manvantaras in one day of Brahma. So Parikshit Maharaj, after hearing the 7 cantos, in the beginning of the 8th canto, he asked that I wanted to hear all the 14 Manvantaras, but for one Manu, for Swayambhu Manu, you have dedicated 4 cantos: third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. And sorry, sixth was some detours, and seventh. So please tell me about all the other Manvantaras also. So the 8th canto describes the all the remaining 13 Manvantaras. Then 9th canto is Ish Anukatha. Ish Anukatha means the stories of various devotees of the Lord. So we heard in the 9th canto also that there are so many short stories which are there describing the great devotees of the Lord, starting with the story of Pururava, starting with the story of Ela, how she becomes Sudyumna. So all that we discussed, and then 10th canto is Ashraya topic. 11th canto is called Mukti, how one can get liberated from this material existence. So in 11th canto, how the Mukti is described? Mukti is described by two discussions. One is the discussion which happens between Maharaj Nimi and Navayogendras. Who are the Navayogendras? We'll discuss. We have discussed this earlier also. So the discussion between Nimi Maharaj and Navayogendra, it comes in the first 3 chapters, first from second to fifth, first 4 chapters. And then the other discussion, which is very important, very wonderful discussion, which comes in 11th canto, is Uddhava Gita. That is from 8th chapter to 29th chapter. The major part of the 11th canto is Uddhava Gita. So these two discussions, they form the topic of Mukti in the 11th canto. And then ultimately, uh, in the beginning of the first canto, we'll see how the family of the dynasty of Krishna was cursed. And then at the end, Shukdev Goswami describes how the Yadu dynasty was destroyed and Krishna also disappeared from this planet. So that is the 11th canto. So now we'll begin the 11th canto, first chapter, which is just entitled as The Curse Upon the Yadu Dynasty. So Shukdev Goswami describes that Lord Krishna and Balram, they appeared on this earth, they killed so many demons, and they reduced the burden of Mother Earth. So Shukdev Goswami is beginning the 11th canto by continuing the pastimes of Krishna, some reference to the pastimes of Krishna in the 10th canto. So Krishna appeared to relieve the burden of this earth. And Srila Prabhupada, the disciples of Prabhupada, they write huge elaborate purports for every verse of this 11th canto. Very beautiful, very insightful purports are written by the disciples of Prabhupada. So they write that this 11th canto begins with the reference of the pastimes of Krishna, which are given in the 10th canto. So in the beginning of the 10th canto, we know how Mother Earth, when she was in such distress because of the burden of the impious kings, she approached Brahma. Brahma, along with Mother Earth, went to Lord Vishnu, and Lord Vishnu assured that don't worry, I'll appear and reduce your burden. And for sure, according to the promise, yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutthanam dharmasya tadatmanam sajamyaham. According to the promise, Lord appeared and reduced the burden of Mother Earth. Sorry. So all the demoniac kings were killed. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So disciples of Prabhupada, they refer a lot in the purports to the commentary of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur on Srimad Bhagavatam. So Saraswati Thakur, he writes that the burden of the earth was reduced, but there was one burden which was still remaining. Some Yadus, they had become inimical towards Krishna because they were so proud of their strength, they had forgotten that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. As we know, familiarity breeds contempt. If we are familiar with a great personality also, we may start taking him lightly. That's why it is said that one should not become familiar with fire, with guru, and with deities. These three things are very, very powerful. So we should be very careful in dealing with guru, spiritual master, deities, and fire. So the Yadus, they started taking Krishna very lightly because they were thinking, oh, he is also one of the Yadus. We are also powerful and he is also powerful. What is the difference? So therefore, to destroy the those members of Yadu dynasty who had become little inimical, who had become indifferent, the Lord caused a quarrel between them. So that is the purport which is written by the disciples of Prabhupada. They are quoting Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So now Shukdev Goswami, he continues the story that when Krishna, he reduced the burden, how he reduced the burden. So now Shukdev Goswami is giving a background. Pandavas, they were so very enraged because of the insults of the Kauravas. They tried to harm the Pandavas in so many ways. Vishan Mahagne Purushada Darshanad Asat Sabhaya Vanavasa Krichrata Mridhe Mridhene Kamaharathastrato Draunyastratasashma Hare Bhirakshita. Kunti Maharani is telling, oh my Lord, you have saved us in all the calamities. So Shukdev Goswami is telling that, so many offenses, so many insults were done by Kauravas. And Pandavas, they were so very angry. And therefore, through this Kurukshetra war, Krishna reduced the burden. So therefore, Kritva Nimittam, the word is used, Kritva Nimittam. Lord made the Pandavas an instrument to destroy the demoniac powers of the world. Lord did not kill personally because Lord always wants to give credit to the devotees of the Lord. So now after destroying all the burden in the form of this empire's kings, Krishna, he was contemplating. So the Lord, he used Yadu dynasty, Lord used Pandavas to destroy the burden of irreligious kings. And then he was thinking that although some may say that the burden is gone, but no, actually it is not gone. The burden is still there in the form of Yadu dynasty itself. So that was a contemplation of Krishna going on. The strength of Yadu dynasty is unbearable. So somebody may think, how is it possible? How can Krishna think in this way? So Saraswati Thakur and disciples of Prabhupada, they write a very wonderful purport to this verse and further verses to describe the thought process. Why Krishna is thinking like this? So Krishna, he detected that because of the intimate association with him, some members of the Yadu dynasty, they had become indifferent to him. They had become inimical towards him. So therefore, because Krishna was thinking now, such whimsical members of Yadu dynasty, they may act freely, and therefore it will cause a great misfortune for the entire world. And when people, those who are foolish, they will see the members of Yadu dynasty, they are behaving in such whimsical way, they will think what, they will think it is the will of Krishna, because these are the members of Krishna's family. They are behaving like this, that means it is the will of Krishna. Therefore, the Lord decided, he began to consider the need to destroy all the indifferent Yadus. That was the first reason. Somebody may think, if the members of Yadu dynasty, they had become indifferent and they knew that Krishna is planning to destroy them, why didn't they oppose? Why didn't they oppose the plan of the Lord? Because Lord wanted them to be removed from the earth. So answer is given that nobody can act against the will of the Lord. Actually, first of all, Yadus, They did not even understand. Even if they would have understood, they could not have opposed. They did not even understand. Because nobody can understand the will of the Lord properly, completely. That is the first reason. Second reason Jiva Goswami gives that this pastime of the destruction of Yadu dynasty is shown to the world to teach a lesson to conditioned soul. Who are the members of Yadu dynasty? They were so very powerful. They were expert in every field. All the opulences they had, strength, fame, beauty, wealth, everything they had. But still they were destroyed. So this pastime is showed, it was shown to the world to help the conditioned souls to realize that this world is not a place to stay. However powerful one may be, nobody can stay in this material world. That is how this is temporary nature. Dukkhalayam and ashashvatam. There is no permanent position for anybody in this material world. That's what Lord wanted to show to the world. That's why this apparent indifference and enmity which all the Yadu dynasty members were showing towards Krishna, it is just external. We should not feel that they actually became irreligious. No. It is just a pastime of the Lord to teach the conditioned souls. As we have seen many times in Bhagavatam, many devotees of the Lord, they may make some mistakes. They are pure devotees. One should never ever judge these great devotees of the Lord. They act in such a way so that people, conditioned soul of this world, they may take a lesson from it. They may learn something. They may learn the temporary nature of this material world. Because, how can Yadus be irreligious? They were so very attached to Krishna. We have heard in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, when Krishna came from Hastinapur after a long time, all the Dwarkavasis, how they were so very eager to welcome Krishna. Bhavayanastvam bhava vishwabhavan tameva mata suritpatim pita tvam sadguruna paramam cha daivatam yasyanu kritino bhabhuvima. They are saying, "O Master, O Krishna, you are our father, you are mother, you are our worshipable deity. How will we stay alive if you are not there? You are always going on the, out travels abroad. You are not staying at home. How we will survive? Katham vayam nath chiroshite tvai prapanya drishta khilata pashoshanam जीवेम ते सुंदरहास शोभनम अपश्यमाना vadanam manoharam." How will we live, O Krishna? Katham, you are always away, you are always traveling only. How we will survive? This separation from you is burning us. If we are not able to see your lotus face with beautiful smile, how will we survive? That was the condition of the Yadus. So Krishna was also thinking, if I leave before them, they'll become so very discouraged. They will become so very despondent. They'll be completely disturbed. And in that condition, they may roam around, they may destroy the world in that state of frenzy, because they will not be able to tolerate the separation from me. So they may go around and they may destroy the earth. So let me take them first and then I'll also leave. That is also one of the reasons why Krishna allowed this destruction of Yadu dynasty. Then Shukdev Goswami says, somebody may think that, okay, why Krishna has to do it personally? Somebody else could have done it. Why in such a very nasty way? It was not a good way. How the members of Yadu dynasty, they were annihilated by killing each other. It was not a very glorious way of departure. Krishna could have arranged somebody else to kill them. So Krishna was thinking, Shukdev Goswami says, actually it is not possible. Krishna was thinking that no one from the outside source can win over the Yadus. Because Yadus were the most powerful kings on the earth. So therefore, what I have to do? I have to inspire a quarrel within the dynasty. And therefore, he arranged a curse of Brahmanas so that the whole dynasty will be destroyed. And then Krishna is thinking, just like in the forest of bamboos, there is a friction in the bamboos, and that's how the whole forest, burns in fire. No outside person puts the fire in the forest. Similarly, no outside person can kill the Yadus. Only Yadus have to kill themselves. This was also one of the reasons. So in the purport of this fourth verse, uh, the disciples, they again quote Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And they describe that, Saraswati Thakur, he quotes one more reason why Krishna orchestrated this whole pastime. Krishna wanted to protect the common people from Mayavad. From where Mayavad comes in this whole pastime. So actually, Saraswati Thakur, he describes that the dynasty of Krishna, when these people, they start acting in a weird way, whimsical way, ordinary people, what they'll think? They will think that, this heroes of the Yadu dynasty, because they are as worshipable as Krishna, they are acting in certain way, so it should be correct. So what they will do, they will start equating Krishna with the Yadu dynasties. That is a Mayavad philosophy. Nobody can be equal to Krishna. Nobody can be on the same level as Krishna. So therefore, to establish Krishna as the most powerful living entity, Krishna, he orchestrated this whole pastime. Krishna, he arranged. And then Shukdev Goswami says that Supreme Lord, with this desire, he arranged a curse of a Brahmanas. Evam vyavasito rajan satya sankalpa ishwarah shapa vyajena vipranam sanjahare swakulam vibhu. Shapa vyajena, in the pretext of the curse of Brahmanas, Krishna, he arranged for the destruction of his own dynasty. So in the fifth verse purport again, a huge purport is there by disciples. Again they give one more reason why Krishna orchestrated this Maushala Leela. To avoid undue recognition of the puffed up descendants of Krishna. So they describe that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityanand Prabhu and Advaita Acharya, all these personalities, they perceived that in the future their descendants will become proud. Their seminal descendants, they'll become proud because they are connected to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityanand Prabhu, Advaita Acharya. They'll become puffed up and they'll commit offenses against the Vaishnavas. And people, they will start giving undue respect and attention to these descendants of the great personalities, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityanand Prabhu, Advaita Acharya. And they will think, oh, these are descendants of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they must be glorious. Even if they are not glorious, ordinary people, what they think generally, are ye inke parivar mein hai, he must be glorious. Ordinary people, what they do, they forget the qualifications of a bona fide devotee. And they just think this person is connected to a great family. So therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he perceived all this. He had no children at all. Nityanand Prabhu, he did not accept any of the natural sons born of his own son, Shri Veerbhadra, Veerbhadra, one of only son of Nityanand Prabhu. Nityanand Prabhu did not accept any of the sons of Veerbhadra. Advaita Acharya, five sons. Out of these five, you know, three became Mayavadis, and Advaitacharya, he only accepted one son as his own, Achyutananda. So therefore, and Achyutananda, he had no disciple, no sons. So therefore, in this way, all these prime associates of Mahaprabhu, they destroyed any opportunity for the seminal descendants to become puffed up. And then Prabhupada, and then the disciples, they write that Srila Prabhupada, he also spread this Krishna consciousness all over the world. None of the family members, they contributed. So therefore, although these family members, they are connected to Prabhupada, the members of Hare Krishna movement, they do not, adore so much these descendants of Prabhupada because they are not great devotees. So that's how a devotee is, devotional qualification is the mukhya lakshan, and other things, they are not taken into consideration. So therefore, Krishna also wanted to avoid undue recognition of his to his puffed up descendants. That's why he arranged all that. And then Shukdev Goswami describes the beauty of Krishna. Swamurtya lokana lavanya nirmuktya lochanam nrinam girbhista smaratam chittam padaista nikshatam kriyah achidya kirtim sushlokam vitatya hyanjasanukau tamo anaya tarishyanti agat swam padamishwarah swamurtya lokalavanya. Krishna, he is the reservoir of all beauty. All the beautiful things, whatever beautiful things you see in this world, Krishna is a source of that. Nirmuktya lochanam nrinam. His face, his personal form is so attractive that it steals the eyes of all the people. When Krishna was there on this planet Earth, whenever he would walk, everybody would be glued, their eyes would be glued to Krishna to such an extent that it is described that when Krishna was fighting, he was driving the chariot on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, the enemies, they would become so much attached to seeing the beautiful form of the Lord. For a few moments, they would forget that they are fighting, and that time Arjuna would kill them. That's how Krishna was attracting everyone's. And then with his words, Girbhis tam smaratam chittam. And with his words, Krishna was stealing the minds of everyone. Whoever remembered him, they were attracted to Krishna. Padaistan, and whoever would see the footsteps of Krishna, whoever would see the footprints of Krishna, they were attracted to him. In this way, achidya kirtim sushlokam. In this way, Krishna very easily spread his glories all over the world. Those glories are sung in sushlokam. Wonderful descriptions. That's why Lord is called Uttama Shlok. One who is described in choicest poetry in the scriptures. Vitatya hi anjasanukau. Simply by hearing, simply by chanting the glories of the Lord, Vitatya, one can very easily cross beyond this ocean of material existence. Tamo anaya tarishyantiti. One can surpass all the darkness of ignorance. And agat swam padam. They can attain the supreme abode. So that's how the beauty of the Lord is there. Lord appeared, he performed so many pastimes, he displayed such unparalleled beauty through his form that everybody got attracted. Gopyastapah kimacharam yadamushya rupam lavanya saramasamordhumananya siddham drigbhi pibanti anusava binavam durapam ekanta dham yashasha shriya eshwarasya. When Krishna enters Mathura for the first time, all the residents of Mathura, they are glorifying the gopis. What austerity the gopis must have performed. Gopyas tapah kimacharam. What austerities they must have performed, that they were getting a chance to drink the nectar of beauty of Krishna every day. Who is Krishna? Lavanya Saram. Krishna is the abode of beauty. Asamordhvam, unparalleled. Nobody is greater than Krishna in any of the aspects. Ananya Siddham, nobody can surpass Krishna in any of the skills. Drigbhi pibanti anusava bhinavam durapam. Gopis were drinking the nectar of Krishna through their eyes every day. Who is Krishna? Ekanta dhama yashasha shriya aishwarasya. Krishna is the only abode of Yasha, Shri and Aishwarya. He is the abode of fame, opulence, wealth, beauty. That's how Krishna manifested so many pastimes. So purport, the disciples, they describe how the lotus feet of Krishna, they can dispel all the darkness of ignorance. There is a effulgence which comes from the toenails of Krishna, which can destroy the ignorance, which can destroy the darkness. Sanchintayet bhagavatas charanaravindam vajrankushadhvaja saroruhalanchanadhyam उत्तुंग रक्त विलसन्नख चक्रवाल ज्योत्स्ना विराहत महदहृदयांधकारम. Jyotsna, the Jyotsna, the light which comes, the effulgence which comes from the toenails of Krishna, it can destroy the darkness which is there in the heart. That's how Krishna is glorious. He is glorified in the Vedas. Vedesha sarvair ahameva vedyo. So Saraswati Thakur describes that how Lord is so very eager to reclaim the fallen conditioned souls. We discussed in the first canto, one of the 6 questions of the sages. Why Lord appears in this world? Answer was to reclaim the fallen conditioned souls. How Lord reclaims the fallen conditioned souls? First, Lord gives a opportunity to a sincere soul to hear about his pastimes. When somebody continues to hear regularly, he advances. He becomes slowly pure, gets purified of all the anarthas, and then Lord gives him opportunity to take part in the pastimes, spiritual pastimes, which he is performing in this universe. So after one becomes pure, gives up this body, he is transferred to the universe where Lord is performing his pastimes. There he is trained. He learns more and more how to serve Krishna. And then he becomes completely detached from the material world. And then he, after that life, Lord brings him to his own abode. So therefore, Chakravarti Thakur writes that, first of all, Lord stole the eyes of everyone. When Krishna was there, gopis they were not able to see anything. Their eyes were just on Krishna. That's how Krishna stole the eyes of the living entities. Everybody was just hankering in Vrindavan to see Krishna. And then he stole the voice of everyone also. How? When Krishna would walk, everybody would be stunned. निज सम सखा संगे गोगन चारण रंगे वृंदावने स्वच्छंद विहार यार वेणु ध्वनि सुनि स्थावर जंगम प्राणी पुलक कंप अश्रु वहे धार. Whenever Krishna would play his flute, everybody would go into ecstasy. Cows would stop drinking the calves would stop drinking the milk from the udders. With the milk in the mouth still, they would become stunned. The birds would stop chirping. River would stop flowing. The trees would stop moving in the wind. Everybody would become stunned. That's how Krishna stole the voice of everybody. And then he stole the hearts of everyone also. And then ultimately he attracted everybody. That's how Krishna is the biggest thief. Because he made people blind, dumb, deaf, mute, and paralyzed. That is what Chakravarti Thakur says. That is what Krishna is. Then he says, who can call Krishna merciful? He is making people blind. He is making people deaf, mute, dumb, mad and paralyzed. How can one tell Krishna is merciful? He is the greatest thief. And that's it. There is one bhajan, Chauragraganyam Purusham Namami. And therefore, people, when they get attracted to Krishna, they are ready to give up their everything. Yadanucharita Leela Karna Piyusha Viprut Sakrita Vidhuta Dvandva Dharma Vinashta Sapadigrih Kutumbam Dina Mutsrijya Dina Bhavahiha Vihanga Bhikshucharyam Charanti. Gopis are telling, this Krishna is such a wonderful personality. Whoever hears about his pastimes through the ears, what happens to that person? He gives up his wretched family members and himself becomes wretched. Gives up everything and goes to Vrindavan searching for Krishna. Bahava Yavinga. There are many people who are searching for Krishna in Vrindavan. Now also you can, if you go to Vrindavan, in the deeper, in the inner parts of Vrindavan and all the villages, you will find many people in moving as beggar. Many of them are great learned people. That's what Chakravarti Thakur writes. So this is Krishna. So then Shukdev Goswami describes that. So after Shukdev Goswami described that, all this, Parikshit Maharaji asked a question. How could Vrishnis, who are always respectable to the Brahmanas, how can they receive a curse from them? Secondly, what was the motive for this curse? What did it consist of? And how can disagreement come between the Yadus? So these are the 4 questions which Parikshit Maharaj asks. So purport describes that generally Brahmanas, they become angry at persons who disrespect Brahminical culture. Yadus were sincere followers of Brahminical culture. How can they disrespect Brahmanas? And even if Brahmanas, they became angry, why would they curse the members of Krishna? Brahmanas are learned. They know they are the members of Yadu dynasty, Krishna. So how can, they must have known that it is offensive to curse the associates of Krishna. It is so very offensive. Then why they cursed the Yadu dynasty members? Because Yadus, it is described, they are Vrishninam and Krishna Chetasam. They are absorbed in the thoughts of Krishna. How can Brahmanas curse Vrishnis? Even if somehow or other Brahmanas cursed Krishna's dynasty, how can curse act on the dynasty of Krishna? Because Krishna is Supreme Lord. So therefore, then their disciples write, Prabhupada disciples write that when a man displays envy and ridicule towards the devotees of Lord Vishnu, whoever he may be, however high birth he may have, if somebody offends a devotee, even if he is a member of Yadu dynasty, even if he is an associate of Krishna, he will be destroyed. In the 10th canto, it is described, Ayu Shriyo Yasho Dharmam Lokana Shisha Evacha Hanti Shreyamsi Sarvani Pumso Mahad Atikramaha. When somebody offends great personalities, what happens? His Ayu goes down, all the opulence goes down, he becomes bereft of all the wealth, beauty, good lifespan, everything goes away. Pumso Mahad Atikramaha. So if somebody offends great personality, everything is destroyed. So if foolish persons, they think that I am the member of Yadu dynasty, I am member of Krishna's family, nothing will happen to me. I can joke with the devotees, I can offend devotees. So this pastime was orchestrated to show the grave nature of the Vaishnava Aparadh. And then Shukdev Goswami, when he hears of this, he starts the description of the Maushala Leela, why it happened. So Shukdev Goswami says that, Krishna, he executed all the auspicious activities while on the earth, and all the desires of Krishna were satisfied. Krishna appeared to show mercy to the devotees, to annihilate the miscreants. Everything was done. Now, Lord wanted to annihilate his own dynasty. Why? Why Lord wanted to annihilate his own dynasty? So now again, few reasons are given in the purport. Elaborate purport is written there. First, Lord Krishna desired himself. He desired that I want to send these associates of mine back to the spiritual world. So therefore, I have to make some arrangement for them. So therefore, he engaged Brahmanas as the agents to curse the dynasty so that the members will go back to the spiritual world. Because now Lord noticed that my mission is complete and I want to go back. So before that, I don't want to go alone. I want to send my associates also. So therefore, he wanted to send the Vrishnis also. So there, Chakravarti and the disciples of Prabhupada, they write that Krishna is always self-satisfied. So he arranged to destroy his own dynasty for three purposes. What was the purpose? First, when Mother Earth, along with Brahmaji, they went to Lord Vishnu for protection. Lord Krishna told them, don't worry, I will appear. But all the Devatas should also appear in the dynasty of Yadus and Vrishnis to assist me in my pastimes. So within every Yadu, there was a Devata portion and there was a Nitya Siddha associate of the Lord. So it is mentioned that when the members of Yadu dynasty, they were sent to Prabhasa, only the Devata portion went. And the Nitya Siddha associates, they remained there and they went with Krishna later. So Krishna, he wanted to reestablish the Devatas in the heavenly planets again. That was the one person. And then also he wanted to send his own plenary Vishnu expansions in their own abode. So separately he wanted to send them also. And thirdly, he wanted to remove himself from the vision of the material world along with the eternal associates. Again, Prabhupada, again the one of the reasons is given there that there is a tangible danger because the ignorant living entities, they will think that, oh, these personalities, although they are acting whimsically, but they are associates of Krishna, and they will start worshipping the whimsical associates of Krishna also, thinking that they are great devotees of the Lord. For example, if somebody thinks Kamsa is a relative of Krishna, he must be a great devotee. That is a very, very, erroneous conclusion. So therefore, Krishna wanted to stop any of these misconceptions, any of these conclusions. So therefore, he wanted to take all the family members along with him. And therefore, he wanted to, remove this false logic of Mayavadis. Because Mayavadis, they think that everything is one. So associates of the Lord and Lord, they are one. So Lord wanted to destroy this misconception. So now Shukdev Goswami, he begins the story. What happened later, so that the result was everything was destroyed. One day, all the sages, they had assembled in the family, in the Dwarka, because sages, they would keep coming to Dwarka. Many great sages they had assembled in Dwarka. Asita, Karnava, Durvasa, Bhrigu, Kashyapa, Angira, Vamadeva, Atri, Vasishta, Narada, and all the big sages. The who is who of the universal creation was there in terms of the sages. Everybody was there in the Dwarka. And they performed once a big ritual, big sacrifice at the house of Vasudev, the father of Krishna. The purpose was to bring happiness for all the residents of the world, all the living entities. And they wanted to, take away the sins of Kali Yuga because they knew that Kali Yuga is approaching. So they performed a huge sacrifice, and then after that they went to a place called Pindaraka. So the purport describes that Pindaraka is a holy place situated about 2 miles from Arabian Sea on the coast of Gujarat. It's still named as Pindaraka. So after performing the great sacrifice, all the sages they went to Pindaraka. There, the members of Yadu dynasty, the sons of the young children, young boys of Yadu dynasty, they were also there. So these young boys of Yadus, they brought Samba. Samba was the son of Jambavati. They dressed him as a pregnant woman, and playfully they approached the sages. They wanted to make fun of the sages. So they approached the sages, and one of the boys grabbed hold of this sage's feet, and with a false humility, with feigning humility, they pleaded with the sages. O learned Brahmanas, this black-eyed pregnant woman, she is expecting a son, and just a minute. So she is expecting a son, and she wants to know whether she will beget a boy or a girl. So when the sages they heard this, very artificial humility of, they saw this artificial humility of the boys, and they heard this request. So before that, purport describes, the impudent behavior of the young Yadus towards these sages was a display of the deviation from the path of Lord Krishna. Because Krishna is Namo Brahmanya Devaya, he is himself the worshipper of the Vishnus, he is himself the worshipper of the Brahmanas. So he wants everybody to worship Brahmanas. So how can the sons in the family of Krishna, they behave in such a wrong way? So therefore this pastime also describes the power of Vaishnava Aparadha. Whoever you may be, however big personality you may be, even if you are associate of Lord Krishna, directly connected to Krishna, if you offend a devotee of the Lord, Lord will never forgive you. Whoever you may be, even his own son. And we have seen in the story of killing of Narkasur, Bhaumasur. Narkasur was the son of Krishna through Prithvi Devi, Bhumi, when Lord appeared as Varaha. But because this Bhaumasur, he became inimical, he became envious towards Brahmanas, Lord himself killed him. So therefore this pastime shows very strongly that Lord does not tolerate the offense towards his own devotees. And we have seen in great detail in the 9th canto in the pastime of Ambrish Maharaj. Ambrish Maharaj, Durvasa Muni, he offended Ambrish Maharaj and he was running everywhere. Went to Krishna, went to Lord Vishnu, and Lord Vishnu told, I cannot do anything. Aham bhakta paradhino, I am not independent. I have become dependent on my devotees. I am surrendered. So therefore, Lord never tolerates offense to his devotees. So ridiculing of great Brahmanas and of Vaishnavas, it was a great offense. And we have seen we have heard the story of Shachi Mata. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu he took sannyas, Shachi Mata, she out of her affection for Lord Chaitanya, she started criticizing Advaita Acharya. Because of this Advaita, my son has taken sannyas. And Lord, he became so angry. He said, everybody can go back to the spiritual world, not my mother. And later, Shachi Mata, she pleaded forgiveness from Advaita Acharya. So therefore, the Lord arranges all these pastimes to show the world the power of Vaishnava Aparadh. These young boys, they were thinking that these Brahmanas, they are just reading all the scriptures. Whole day they are absorbed in scriptures. What do they know about the worldly affairs? How they will know, this lady will have a son or a girl or daughter. So they wanted to make fun of the Brahmanas. So therefore, that was the offense. Another thing which is written in the purport is, in modern times, there are some sects of people who dress themselves as gopis. You know, so through this pastime, Lord wanted to make people aware of the sahajiya mentality. Don't try to imitate. Don't try to, we make a artificial endeavor to become a pure devotee by taking a dress of a gopi, because everybody should follow the principles of scriptures. Shruti Smriti Puranadi Pancharatra Vidimbina Ekantiki Harer Bhaktir Utpata Yeva Kalpate. So that is another lesson which Lord wants to teach through this pastime. That artificially one cannot take the form of a great devotee of the Lord like gopis. So Jiva Goswami writes that the lack of humility which was shown by the sons, it was arrangement by the Lord himself. How can the sons of Krishna behave in such impudent way? It is not possible. It was just the arrangement of the Lord. Whatever is happening is all arranged by the Lord. So the sages, when they heard this request, they told the boys, "O fools, she will bear a club which will destroy the entire dynasty of yours." They pronounced the curse on the entire Yadu dynasty. So Krishna himself desired that sages should become angry and curse the Yadu dynasty. In order to teach that, Vaishnavas, they cannot be thought as foolish people who do not know anything about the mundane world. People think, oh, these people, they are just whole day they are doing Hare Krishna, they have no conception of what is happening in the world. Vaishnavas are very much aware of what is happening in the outside world. Just that they don't spend time on it. They don't discuss those things. They are aware. They are socially aware what is happening in the society. And secondly, Krishna wanted to reduce the pride of his own family members. When the sons of Krishna and the Yadu dynasty, they heard this curse, they became horrified. These boys, terrified, they uncovered the belly of Samba, and they found for sure a iron club. There was an iron club there. So therefore, this example shows that in the polluted society, there is a lesson which the disciples they give there. There is always a club of duplicity. People, they are behaving externally in one way and they have some other intentions. If somebody is behaving in a duplicitous way, there cannot be peace in the society. You know, just a minute. There is some kirtan is going on. I'll just take 1 minute. Hare Krishna. Yeah. So that is what all the disciples they write in the purport, because these boys, these descendants of Krishna, they are behaving in a duplicitous way. Therefore, they became completely disturbed now. And then the young boy said, "Oh, what have we done? We are so unfortunate. Now, what will we do? How will we face our family members now? They became so very disturbed. And then they went home taking the club with them. They did not approach Krishna, they approached Ugrasena because they were very much afraid of Krishna. So the boys, their faces had already lost all the luster. So they came with the club in the royal assembly where Ugrasena was sitting. In the presence of all the Yadavas, these boys, they told the entire story. Because of the shame and fear, these boys, they didn't go to Krishna. Ugrasena, when he heard, and all the residents of Dwarka, they heard the curse of the Brahmanas, everybody was struck with fear because the Brahmanas' curse is infallible. So Ugrasena, he did not even consult Krishna. He said, do not worry. You do not worry about it. Do not feel any shame. Just crush this club into pieces and throw it in ocean. So this club was crushed into pieces, but there was a small lump of iron that they could not crush. Ugrasena, his own hands, he threw the entire, the crushed particle and the small lump of club in the ocean. And as all these particles were thrown in the ocean, all the particles, they were swept by the waves of the ocean. They came on the shore and they grew into big, powerful, strong canes, rod, in the form of rod. And the small lump which was there, it was swollen by a fish. One fisherman, he caught that fish, and when he cut that fish open, he found this lump of fish. This lump, this lump of iron. So this lump of iron was used by a hunter called Jara, and he put that lump of iron on the arrowhead. All the events, whatever is happening, everything was sanctioned by the Lord. That's what Shukdev Goswami describes. Although Lord is supreme powerful, he can, you know, uh, counteract the curse. He can, make all things proper. But Lord desired all these things to happen. So therefore, okay. So this is how this uh, first chapter ends. So we'll stop here. We'll continue tomorrow. Anybody has any questions? Okay, thank you very much. We'll stop here. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.